Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session of Academic Research Logs. What I want to talk about today is one of the most important aspects of when you're starting to work on your research, and it's that beginning phase of your research. And today the topic is on how to write a good research proposal. The goal of a research proposal is not difficult, to be honest. All you're trying to do is you're trying to persuade and convince anyone that your topic is actually worthwhile. You're telling them that your topic is feasible, it is doable, it is researchable as well. So your proposal must show that there is an obvious benefit to be gained from doing the investigation, and that there is in fact an action need for it. So in other words, you need to show that your research is visible and that something will be accomplished and that it will be delivered on time as well. So today it's going to be a mixture of talking about the structure of your research proposal, the content as well, and how you would go about making sure that you put in all of the information that's required when you start to write your proposal. So the first thing that I want to bring to your attention is when you're starting to write that research proposal, it's important that you start with that introduction. And within your introduction, you need to really discuss what your title is. Make sure it's not complex. It could be a broad title of what your research area and what your subject is all about. In your introduction as well, you're telling the reader exactly what your research is all about. You're telling them what your research is going to achieve. You're telling them within your introduction what the purpose of your research is. And without this information in your introduction, it will be difficult to evaluate your proposal. So it's important that within that introduction, which will be the first chapter of your proposal when you write it, make sure that you've conveyed exactly what the purpose of your research is. Make sure that you've told the people that are going to evaluate your research that this is what they're going to gain from it. Okay, so that's the first aspect. The second thing that you want to make sure that your research proposal has is something that we call a literature review. And what it means in simple terms is that what you're looking for, what we already know about your topic. What do we already know about the area that you're trying to research? So where does the current knowledge stand in regards to what you're trying to research? Because the reason why the literature review is important is because there is no point in doing research that has already been done and answered. So if the answers already exist, there is no point in repeating the research. And that's why the literature review is important, because you can start to see the patterns of what's been done and how you're going to go about your own research. And the only reason probably why you might want to do, if you decide to do the exact same things that the literature has done, is if you're trying to check the credibility of the study, you're trying to see if the answers to the research are trustworthy. So you're going to replicate exactly the same processes that has been used. So that's the second aspect of your proposal. Within that literature review, it helps you to prevent research that is not needed. And in that way, you can also pick out some of the important questions that you think your research will be able to answer by looking at the literature review. The next thing now is, once you've looked at the literature and now you've come up with some important questions that you want to answer, now you can start to formulate your research questions. Remember, you've got a broad topic already that covers generally everything, but the research questions need to be a little bit more specific, and you can obtain your questions by the things that you found in the literature. So now that you know what the purpose of your study is, you also know what the current literature says about that topic. So when you're reviewing the literature, you can start to develop questions that will help you to answer that topic. So a good research proposal should have research questions that would help you to answer the topic. The next thing as well is the method. So when we say method, you need to tell the people that are evaluating your proposal how you're going to obtain the information that's necessary to answer the research questions that you are formulated. So you need to talk about things like how you're going to collect your data, how much data you will need, what sort of methods and techniques you will use to collect that data. So it's very important that you also talk about that really clearly. You don't need to complicate it, just tell them exactly how you intend on going about collecting your data. Again, I think another pitfall that people don't envision when they do their proposal is they don't actually think about giving due attention to planning and the resources that's involved. So it's really important that you have that timeline and you have a guide that you know you're going to go by, and it has to be realistic. You need to think about the time that's going to be involved realistically. You need to think about the type of project that you're embarking on. In that plan as well, you need to think about what you will be doing at every point in time for each aspect of the project. How long will you be doing that aspect? Will it take you 6 months? Will it take you 3 months? Will it take you 2 months? So you need to make sure that you think very carefully and clearly about the resources that's needed to be able to finish your research. So another very important thing that your research proposal needs to tell the people that are evaluating your proposal is ethics. Ethics is really important. You need to give due consideration to your ethics. Is your research ethical? Is it socially acceptable? You will need to discuss exactly how you will be conducting your research. So what do you require from your participants? Are you putting them in any sort of harm's way? Are you abiding by the law? So again, ethics is about you telling those people that you're not going to harm your patient harm your participant or bring any harm to them by being involved in the research. You're looking after their best interest all through your research process. So your proposal needs to make sure that you have that in there as well. Lastly, your research proposal needs to specifically spell out the outcomes, the benefits. You need to tell the people that are evaluating your research that what are the specific benefits of investigating the area. So you need to tell them, you need to give a clear account of the implications of your project. So for example, you need to tell them that who are the people that's going to benefit from this project? What's the implication of doing this project? How is it going to benefit everyone that's going to be involved? So you need to tell those people exactly what the benefits of your results would be and the outcomes that's going to come from it. So in conclusion, it's important that when you're writing your research proposal, you have all of those elements and don't miss any of it out. And another thing that I wanted to maybe just add on really quickly is sometimes people question and maybe they're not too sure about the people who you write your research proposal to. So these people are they're the ones that will evaluate your research. So for example, if you're doing research at a master's level, your supervisors will be the ones that will be assessing and evaluating your research proposal. If it was to be an undergraduate project, your tutors would be the ones that would be assessing that proposal. If it was something like a PhD, a research degree, higher degree program, we have research committees and potential supervisors. Your potential supervisors are people who have expert opinion in the area. They have experiences in the area and they can really tell whether what you're doing is feasible or not. So they're the ones that will be assessing. If you're looking for research grant and you're writing application for maybe a funding application for a particular project, there are review panels or people who are experts in the field as well that will sit on your proposal and either approve it. So again, there are ethical approval as well. So ethical, you could write your proposal to an ethics committee and they would be the one that will review. There's often a board of reviewers and they'll be the one that will review your proposal. So thank you very much everyone for listening, and I hope that you're able to take one or two things when you're writing your research proposal, and remember that you still need to follow the guidelines of your individual institutions, but overall everything that I've talked about today are some of the core and key ingredients of what's needed in a good research proposal. So thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.